Jerry, you're a mess.
I am a mess.
You're a mess.
I'm so proud of the fact that I had that recorded.
Go ahead. No, messy's good here on Wendy.
Okay.
Oh, no, messy is good. Uh-huh. Go ahead.
All right. The most basic preliminary question that you've gotten a million times, but when did you decide? Tell the story of how you decided that you wanted to be in broadcasting.
Oh, gosh, 6th grade. I grew up in Ocean Township. I grew up in the Wayside section of Ocean Township. A very nice community, but, I come from a working class situation. My parents did not have a lot of money to spend on college. They provided for me, my brother, and my sister 4 years of tuition, and that is it. I knew that I did not have the luxury of being able to enter as an undeclared freshman and backpack through Europe and find myself. So, in 6th grade, I knew where I wanted to go to school. Not the exact school, but I knew I wanted to go to school in Boston. Wow. And I'd always been told all of my life, up until that point, that I speak very well. My grades were very average, solid C's, no B's, no A's, a D once in a while, but a solid C student. I really didn't have a whole lot of interest in school. It was just the process. But I did want to be a newscaster, and I enjoyed reading books, and I enjoyed writing, and I knew that I could do it. And, I had the influence of people like Sue Simmons and Vic Miles and Chi Williams. Those were, black broadcasters in New York. And I just thought that a newscaster was definitely it. I said a newscaster or a radio personality. Okay. One of the two. And I had the influence of listening to New York radio, at the shore area where we're from. We have New York media in the suburbs. So, yeah, either a newscaster or a radio broadcaster. And when I got to college, I majored in communication. I minored in journalism. And I immediately got involved with the college radio station where I was reading news at the top of the hour. Something about radio, it was my second choice, actually, because I thought that you had to know an awful lot about music, and you had to have an air of cool. And I was a lot of things, when I was younger. But one of them was not cool. I wasn't in the in crowd. I of course, wrought with insecurities and different. I was not cool. Mm-hmm. And I read the news on the college radio station, and one day one of the radio DJs did not show up, and they said, "Well, you have to do it." And I was frightened to death. But quickly, I found that it's not about cool. As a matter of fact, it's not even about the music. A radio personality. Back then they called them DJs, though. A radio DJ is just the conduit from one song to the other. And if you want to say something cool, you have plenty of time to write it down and rehearse it in your reflection of the glass before the song ends. And that's kind of what I did. And then the personality part kicked in, where I would know a little bit more about something. That was LL Cool J, this new rapper on the scene with I Need a Beat. When I was home at Christmas, LL Cool J performed at, this club in yada, 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 and I heard that he left with 3 girls. And then people would want to know, well, what else do you know? What else do you know? So there's where the personality part of radio personality, I guess, was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as a side question, is there a part of you that wanted to do more of a serious newscaster type of thing, and did that sort of fade away as you became more successful as a personality?
No. As soon as I got involved, I was on the fence with newscasting once I started really, once I got to college. Long before freshman year ended, I was on the fence with news broadcasting as I started to more discover what parts of my personality I will probably still have when I'm 50 years old, being a realist, I've always had a sparkly, bubbly personality. I've always had a flair for the flash. I'm the one to put rhinestones on a jacket in 8th grade. And cut a hole, right here out of the side of a sweatshirt, by senior year, and have long dragon nails with polka dots. Like these girls today think that they're doing something with this embellishment. I've been doing that a long time ago. and the flash part of my personality like that is not conducive to the newsroom. So no, I've never regretted, because I realized that I was not going to be able to rise to the occasion of the decency that a newscaster was back when I was growing up. Now, these days, newscasters are allowed to twerk in the club and still keep their job on the news. If I had known that, I would have stayed. But no, I love the nightclub. I like to hang out. I still do. You know, I still love dancing until 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, and doing things, I guess, that wouldn't be characteristic of a newscaster's personal life, which is, you know, nothing illegal, but certainly just they have to live above board.
Gotcha. You talked about how you sort of discovered that dropping in bits and pieces about maybe celebrities' personal life and things like that seemed to work for you, obviously. Yeah. When you first started doing that, before you were at the level of being able to really hobnob with a lot of big names, how did that work? Where did you get a lot of that information that you shared?
At the club. Because, you know, I mean, you know, fast forward to 1988 when I got my first New York job. It was a station called Hot 103.9, and it was a dance music station. It subsequently changed frequencies and changed formats. It's now Hot 97. But, you know, I was a young New York girl. At that point, I was like 25 years old. I was making $60,000 a year, which was a hell of a lot of money. And that was just for my salary. It was not including all the appearances that I was doing. I would do like 2 and 3 appearances a night, 7 nights a week, because I was single. And I only had and I had no student loans and no car notes. My parents paid for my education in cash, and they paid for my car in cash. So I had no loans to anybody. And I was like living life like it's golden. I mean, I was being paid to go to nightclubs and then I was in the VIP area. So of course I would be seeing things, and then I would bring it back to the radio. And it just through the years, that's just how it's been. You know, when you have access, then you have access to the information. When you have access to be there, then you have access to the information. And I chose the audience over the celebrities, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. After my job, I've always gone home. Even back then, even today. You know?
Makes sense.
It would be lovely, you know, after the show, you know, Laura Linney's here and we interview, and, you know, I get along very well with, you know, people who come to go out for lunch with her afterwards. But I really do just want to go home. Mm-hmm. And I've always been that way. It's a really exciting career, but without you know, that home element, it kind of sucks. So, yeah, people like that extra information, but you have to choose which side. You can't serve two masters. You know, you can't be friends,
right? And
go to party and hang out and lunch,
and then betray,
and talk about anything, even if it's a hangnail. Like you cannot do that. That is not a good friend.
Right. Understandable. Yeah. Okay. Let's shift a little bit to Jersey-centric stuff.
Okay.
You've lived many places in Jersey. You've lived a good portion of your life in Jersey. What do you think makes a Jersey person or a Jersey girl, specifically, what are the traits that are people who come from Jersey, and you in particular, what is it about you that makes you a Jersey girl?
Being gutsy, playing fearless. We all have fears, but we in Jersey are good at, you know, playing fearless or being fearless. We are used to being kicked. There's so many Jersey jokes, you know, out there about us being the armpit and all the other stuff that they talk about us, and you know, but so much good has come out of Jersey. How dare you? How dare you know? I've spent my entire career practically working in Manhattan. I've never lived here. Never had a desire. You know why? I love strip malls. I love circles. You know,
you're the one.
I love drive-through banks, drive-through McDonald's. I love parking spaces. You know, I love Jersey Transit, not the subway. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go down there. I'm not going down there. You know, our beaches. You know, they're not the cleanest beaches in the world, but they're ours. You know, I grew up on the Jersey Shore. I never caught a hepatitis from our water. You know, I just love Jersey. We've got trees and beautiful parks, world-class shopping, skiing. Yeah. I don't ski, but it's nice. I mean, you
it's good to have the option.
It's nice to have the option, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go through a few of your favorite places here.
By the way, Jersey, you can spot a Jersey girl, although if you squint, you might mistake her for a Long Island girl. She's usually a little gaudy and a little bit, I don't want to say loud because people think that's unattractive, but since I'm talking to Jersey people, I'll say she's a little louder than the rest. And slightly tacky.
Okay.
Many of us. Not all, but many of us. Slightly, you know, zebra print blouse with, you know, cheetah print jeans. Those giant orange nails. That teased up hairspray hair. That's Jersey.
Okay. Okay, so here in Jersey, let's just go through a few things and see what your favorites are. What's your favorite beach here?
Belmar Beach, 13th Avenue.
Why?
Because that's where I went as a kid.
Okay.
And that's, you know, my parents made us go there. But then as I became a teenager, I realized, oh my God, DJ's is right there. Belmar Playland was right across the street. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It was like everything was right there. And so 13th Avenue, yeah, Belmar Beach.
Okay. What's your favorite place to eat in all of Jersey?
TikTok Diner on Route 46. Any diner, but that happens to be,
That's
yeah.
the one.
Oh, wait! Hold on. Because I will take a trip to the Windmill, the one that I grew up on in Long Branch.
Okay.
And I have gotten in the car on specific days when the weather is just right and driven down there to go. I also, I love Evelyn's for seafood.
Yes.
Evelyn's is fantastic. I also love Jersey Freeze. Do you like Jersey Freeze?
I've never. What's Jersey Freeze?
Jersey Freeze, it came along years later, but Jersey Freeze is right on the circle at Freehold, and they have basically the same fare as the Windmill, except larger. Okay. My mouth is watering as I'm talking about this. Yeah.
All right. Favorite place to, you said you still like to go out dancing, go clubbing. What's your favorite place to do that in Jersey?
Sorry, Jersey. I hit the city.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Talk about betrayal.
I know. Jersey's for house parties. New York is for the club.
Okay. If you had to, if for some reason you had to, is there anywhere that you would?
Well, back when I would give Jersey a chance, I used to enjoy going to the Hunka Bunka Ballroom in Sayreville. Mm-hmm. I used to enjoy going to Fox's in Jersey City. But most importantly, and let's not forget, I used to love going to Zanzibar in Newark. Club Zanzibar. Yes. Uh-huh.
All right. If you had to go somewhere to stay for a weekend in Jersey, where would you go these days?
Okay, nobody be offended, but it would be my house.
Okay,
sorry.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You know, I don't think of Jersey as my vacation destination. Don't be offended, Jersey. But I hit the Lincoln Tunnel. I come into Manhattan. I rent a hotel room. Now we've done that for a week just to get away.
Sure.
Sorry.
In your early days of radio,
mm-hmm.
you had to you had to hit the road. You had to work wherever the work came. I'd imagine, like so many others. How did that? How did you deal with that? Having to move away from Jersey, move away from this area, and live in some pretty wacky places.
Well, fortunately, I didn't live in too many wacky places. I mean, it all happened pretty quick for me. I spent 8 months in St. Croix, and I missed the States in general. I mean, God. Then I worked in Washington, D.C. for about 8 months, And I desperately missed Jersey being in Washington. They're just so conservative. Just the park. You can't get a parking space. And then right after DC, I worked in Manhattan, where I lived in Jersey the whole time.
Oh.
Yeah. So Jersey has never been far from my heart or my being.
Okay. Back to your radio days. Now, this is something that, researching you, Googling you, this is a term that still comes up a whole lot, the term shock jock. I'm sure you've answered this many times.
Yeah.
How do you feel about being labeled with that?
Well, I don't particularly care for it, only because shock jock is associated with my friend Howard Stern, and nothing that I've ever done has been as shocking as throwing bologna covered with mayonnaise on a naked woman. You know what I mean? Shock jock brings up distasteful and kind of like man humor. So I don't like it because I don't find anything that I say so shocking.
No.
It's what you're thinking, and my delivery with it is not so shocking. I speak like you speak.
Real.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it only because it put me in good company with Howard Stern, who is one of the greatest personalities on radio ever. So that means that I must be one of the greatest personalities ever. So I'll take it. But, I mean, so, you see, it's like a double-edged thing.
Sure. That's actually the term I was just going to use.
The crazy thing is that now the whole world is shocking. So what I say and what I do is no longer shocking. So everybody is caught up. I was an enigma at one point in my career.
You were ahead of your time, definitely.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a minute, too. But I think what we're getting at here is that there's different kinds of shock.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Howard Stern brand, when that was first a new thing, it's more intentional.
Right.
It's more, we're going to shock the people. You're more shocking in your honesty. I think that's probably...
Yes.
And having a reputation for that, do you consider that to be a double-edged sword? Just the knowledge that you're going to try to keep yourself honest and keep everyone you talk to very honest as well. Has that been a challenge for you as far as just your reputation amongst in any realm?
It is shocking, or it is challenging, because I find, like even today, when I walk in a room, people sort of react as if an alien walked in the room, or Godzilla, or something that they've always wanted to see or be near, but they don't know how to react. Like if I touch her, will I burn? If she catches me looking at her, will she say, "What the heck are you looking at?" or whatever? It's interesting because along with my reputation is my presence. I'm taller, than most men and women in the room. Once I put my heels on, I have a larger frame than the average woman. But it all works with me. I like to walk in a room and watch everyone scatter. in wonderment. And I consider that a positive thing. Oh, yeah. Because the fact is, the truth is that I am a pussycat. I am honest, but I am not mean-spirited. And so I know that no matter what people think and when they scatter, if they gave me a chance, they would love me. If I didn't know me, this would be the show that I'd watch. Mm-hmm. I would be my kind of girl. Okay. But I see where people are skittish in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just larger than life image and yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's talk more about sort of how you said the world is caught up and how maybe that behind the scenes of people's lives are now a much more commonplace thing to talk about and that people know. Do you think at this point, 2014, with the knowledge of the fact that cameras are everywhere, everything that people do is being recorded basically, mm-hmm. do you think celebrities have an inherent responsibility at this point to be a role model?
No.
Not at all.
No, I think that parents and families need to raise their own kids. And I'm a parent myself, and fortunately our son has an advantage over his peers in that because his mom is a celebrity and our family business is celebrity. You know, my husband, he's one of the executive producers here, and he's also my manager. Okay. And we've been together for 20 years, married for 16, and our son is 13. So our son knows nothing but, I guess, this life. And he was the first one. I remember when Miley twerked on that video show. We were sitting and watching it together. And he's looking, he's like, what is she doing? His perspective is from the jaded inside. Mm-hmm. You know? And I like that. These celebrities, thank God so far, but I will knock on wood, are not raising him. You know, me and his father are raising him. Mm-hmm. And celebrity behavior he uses as a source of what not to do, and kind of sees the desperation for attention and things like that. And you know, and I love that he feels that way. And I don't want to be a role model, because you're not going to stifle my life because I'm raising your child. You raise your child, you know. But celebrities do have a great pull over these kids. It's up to parents, though, to open up the conversation, you know. When Justin Bieber is caught allegedly with the drugs in his house and egging houses and things like that, that is so corny. Like, my kid thinks that is so corny and a poor use of celebrity, a poor use of just, no. You know, no, I have no obligation to raise your kids. If you happen to see something, or your kid sees something in my behavior that you really like, then fine. I don't mind you emulating it. You know, I'm flattered. Mm-hmm. You know, but I spanked my kid when he was younger. You know, damn near beat him down when he does things, because that's how you have to raise. That's how you raise a kid. Mm-hmm. I was spanked. He's spanked, and he will. He already told me he's going to spank his kids. All right. Now, there are a lot of kids that don't get spanked. A lot of parents who would talk down about that, but I'm not here to be an example to parents and kids.
Okay. The whole movement, TMZ, the internet, video everywhere, following people, you know, not just on the set anymore, but just walking down the street.
It's crazy. They need to move to Jersey. I always say it. Nobody follows me walking down the street.
It's not something that could be controlled, not something that could be changed, but your feeling from someone who was much more exclusive in that realm earlier on, do you think the whole thing has gone too far? Do you think it's sort of an overexposure of the concept of getting getting inside people's lives?
No. I think that first of all, I'm very happy with how the thirst for celebrity culture has grown, because now I'm not the only one. You know, which it's nice. Now I have a constituency of, you know, millions of bloggers and TMZ type around the world. If you notice closely, you continually hear about basically the same 150 celebrities. There's about 150 of them. Every week in the magazines, they are there. Every time TMZ is on, they are there. Every once in a while, you get a new celebrity in the fray, but it's basically the same 150 celebrities. There are more celebrated people and celebrities and stars and whatnot, more famous people who never are part of these magazines and never are part of TMZ. You want to know why that is? Because they live in Jersey, because they live in Maine, because they don't live in LA or Calabasas where the Kardashians live. They live in Bakersfield. Because they live in Connecticut, not Manhattan. If Baldwin doesn't want to be bugged, then move to Jersey. Do you understand? So you shouldn't have to do that to get away from the paparazzi. But I don't get papped a lot here in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. I know where to go to get papped. There's a place called Michael's. They have Celebrity Wednesdays. I only go there with my mother and father, because they love the whole celebrity culture and they're older and I think it's cute. So when they come to the show, they come on a Wednesday and we go to Michael's afterwards, and they know, straighten up, because as soon as we open the car door, we're going to get papped and then put in the Daily News the next day. So I go to Michael's on a Wednesday only with my parents. If I don't want to be papped, I'm not going to go eat lunch at Fred's at Barney's. You know, I'm going to go up the street to Rare. There's no paparazzi at Rare.
So you think a lot of it's voluntary?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, can I also let you in on something?
Sure.
When this show first started, we were approached to get with a particular photographer. You know, these photographers, you know, the professional ones that sell the pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get with a photographer, and you know, to get me out there more. It was our first season, notoriety and stuff. He would set up a photo shoot, stage one, and you know, it was a cute concept. I did it once, and I remember how I did it. I did it. Look. It was around Christmas time, and so they brought a bunch of wrapped gifts. And they and I put on a coat, and I was standing in the back of our house, but they acted like I was like at a promenade, like at a strip mall or something like that. And listen, they took a series of pictures. They bought the cookie dough, and the cookies were already made. They bought fresh flowers, lined it up in my kitchen, and here's Wendy baking cookies. Then they said, okay, now I have a bicycle built for two. Me and my son as a cutesy picture. So it's like, we call it Wendy bike riding. We put the bike in the street. I put my helmet on. Me and my son were sitting on the bicycle built for two. Then it's Wendy bike riding. Then Wendy recycles. They said take the recycling bins down to the curb. Now you understand they had a series of like 5 pictures, and they would pepper them. You know, maybe every 2 weeks there'd be a Wendy. You know, so I'm in the magazines. It was set up. Right. We paid the photographer. As a matter of fact, we didn't have to pay the photographer because the photographer sold the pictures. So, see what I'm saying?
Right.
And these celebrities, and I am telling you, Jerry, Marcus, when we discovered, first of all, I would never do that corny mess again. But you live and you learn, and then you spread the word so that people, so that you understand. You didn't know that, but now I'm putting you onto something new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Paparazzi aren't just sitting in people's neighborhoods taking pictures of them strolling with their kid. As a matter of fact, you don't even stroll with your kid. You call the paparazzi. I don't even bike ride like that, okay? Me and my son on a bicycle built for 2. I need a bicycle built for 1, and I wait until it's dark. But they call. I mean, 50% of them get hawked because they go to places like the Ivy or Michael's. And then the other 50%, they call you. And they tell you, I'm going to bring a blanket in the park. I'm going to have my kids, you know. Yeah.
Sorry, totally.
Isn't that stupid? Stupidest thing ever.
Crazy.
I know.
Crazy. It's an industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've interviewed a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of your the thing you're known for. You talk about a lot of things, but the thing you're really known for, different interviews that you've done from radio to now. Just sort of a random question, but you've interviewed some people at low times, some people at high times. Can you think of one person who you've interviewed at some point over the years that you could see poised or somehow would just love to reemerge, make some sort of a comeback? Just somebody from over the years that you would love to see have a happy story, a happy ending.
Chris Brown.
Okay.
Is one. DMX, who still has a viable rap career just based on his old body of work. I mean, he's not just an urban rapper. He's a crossover rapper. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
Up in here.
That's all I'm saying. You know,
Sure.
DMX. I'm very happy for Drew Barrymore. I've never interviewed with her, but I'm very happy for her. I would love to interview her now.
Mm-hmm.
God, I've interviewed so many people at low points. Those two right there, right off the bat. DMX particularly, if I only have to pick one, he was supposed to be here about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And we made big arrangements and everything. Anyway, he didn't end up showing up. He ended up getting arrested that morning. Mm-hmm. This is during the time that he went to Ayan Levanzant's Fix My Life, and he was on Dr. Phil, and everybody's trying to help him fix his life. And we purchased the rights to party on just for temporary that day. You know, you have to buy popular music. I mean, the show, we bent over backwards and dumped a whole bunch of money into his visit, only for him never to show up. And he, as he said to Dr. Phil, that I would like to see DMX clean up his life. Yeah.
Okay. We talked a little bit before about how you like to maintain some semblance of privacy, and certainly maybe that was sort of a borderline thing, the inviting the paparazzi in, something you're not doing anymore.
But they didn't say it was the house. Like I was specific. I was like, you can't do the house. It was only one camera guy, and everything was close up. Like the shopping picture, they said I was at the strip mall. Okay. Riding my bike in Jersey. I never say what town I live in or anything like that. And so, yeah. And I hate inviting people into my life.
Okay.
I do. I hate it.
Well, you said basically that where you live is probably the biggest factor in the fact that you don't get bothered a lot by paparazzi. Yeah. However, you're more famous now than you've ever been.
Yeah.
It just keeps growing and growing and growing. Do you have any challenges? Are there times where there is more of a challenge to keep whatever you're doing private than there would have been, say, 10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I could take my kid to Great Adventure, and I don't have to think about what time are we going to go, what day are we going to go. You know what? I can't go. I'm going to, have, Ro drive you because Daddy's not available. My assistant, drive you and your friends or something like that. 10 years ago, we could go to, 10 years ago, life was just different. I was very popular on the radio. I never want to discount my radio career, but it wasn't a visual, and it wasn't as widespread. It was mostly an urban audience. And you kind of knew where the "How You Doins" were going to come from. Mm-hmm. Now they come from everybody. Old hetero Asian men. Young, urban, hip hop boy youths because they pass through the room and their mom's watching the show, or they remember me from radio. So now the "How You Doins" come from any and everybody. The cop. License and registration. Oh snap, Wendy, it's you. How you doing, officer? Yes, there are challenges. A shredder is my best friend, in terms of, at home. Mm-hmm. I know that there are challenges, but nothing that I can't get around.
Okay.
And also, I have to say that people treat you the way you put it out there. When I am driving around my town, I do all of the Home Depoting, all the Targeting, all of the grocery shopping, all of the everything, and people know it's me. Mm-hmm. But I say, hi, how are you? And that's it. Friendly, you engage, and then you disengage. Mm-hmm. Busy, busy, busy. And people respect that. And I think that our neighbors, I don't know this for fact, but I bet you that our neighbors really respect the way we conduct our lives. We don't have people over to the house. They probably thought, there'd be swinging parties and, like that all the time. They probably wanted to be involved with the swinging parties and everything, but we're a very low-key family, and we're always home. At least I'm always home because the show, is an everyday show. Oh. I'm home more often than not. You ring our doorbell, there I am. What do you want? That's it. It's the three of us that live there. That's it.
Okay. Let's talk about your show a second. One of the most unique things about it that I think certainly, I'm sure you would agree, is part of the whole vibe of the show is the fact that it's broadcast live.
I love that.
How tough of a sell was that? Not only just the fact that it's not that common a thing, but just given the nature of the show, given the nature of the potential back and forth Q&As, things like that, there's a whole lot that could go wrong any given day.
Yeah.
So how much of a sell was that? How tough was that?
It was no sell at all. They told me, you're going to be live.
Oh.
And I said, great, because I've got stuff to do after the show. Nobody has time to be up in this dusty studio all day. Right. I've got groceries to get and whatnot. At 11:01, I'm free. Mm-hmm. I could be free to stay here, but that's the great thing also about working with my husband is that he's here acting in my seat. I go home, I become Wendy Hunter, and I'm doing stuff over there. Live is not... I make it look like perhaps something will go wrong. But remember, I had almost 25 years of radio broadcasting live, 4 hours a day. Mm-hmm. You know, I got inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame, won several awards. I wasn't just a radio personality. I was, you know, one of those part of an elite group. You don't get to be that far by slipping up.
Right.
By slipping up.
Yeah. You
get to be that far by making it look easy, but it really is not. Like, I curse like a sailor in real life. I've never cursed on the radio before. I don't even really have to think of it. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
You know, or curse on the TV show. Or say the wrong thing in terms of, you know, giving head versus giving fellatio. Nobody says fellatio in real life, you know. But, you know, I'm a trained broadcaster, which doesn't always translate on TV. So for me, live TV is the best. It's the best. And I love the schedule. You know, we're live out of New York 4 days a week. Our fifth day, well, we have to give with the union, the crew, they have to have a day off or something like that. It's something having to do with the cameras and everything. But I don't mind that. We tape Friday's show on Thursday afternoon, and Friday I'm free to go to Home Depot or something.
Right.
You know, or work on an outside project.
And I guess part of it is also that you're right there with talking about things that are current, that are happening.
I love that.
Yeah. That's a big part of the show is just, you know.
The hot topics.
Yeah, exactly.
And being current. Being able to say, did you watch that last night?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Totally different question. Parenthood. Mm-hmm. How would you say, has that changed you at all as far as what you will or won't do on your show, on the air, how you approach things professionally?
No.
Okay.
How can I say this? Our culture has hit such rock bottom in terms of what people see in the media that a lot of things like posing tastefully nude are not detrimental anymore. I pose tastefully nude. My son was like, go for it. Do you understand?
Yeah. His
friends show him the picture. He's like, yeah, you know, my mom is hot. It doesn't deserve a punch in the face. I don't do drugs. I did, but I don't. And he doesn't know me as a drug person. But I'm honest about it, and so he can't be shocked by it. I think that I would be honest, even if there was no internet, you know, where you can read about everything on the internet. I think I'd be honest with him anyway.
Okay.
So no, it really hasn't. I'm a decent person, and I would be a decent person even if I wasn't a mother. You know.
Okay. Very vague question.
The parenthood has changed me though in terms of parenthood has changed me in terms of planning for the future.
Okay.
You know, financially and as well as what am I going to do with my time. Mm-hmm. And that's about the only way it's changed. But I've always been a planner anyway, so no, parenthood has not changed me.
Well, that's
no.
That's actually something I was going to ask you because you've expanded a lot. You're I don't know if you refer to yourself as a brand, but you are. TV, movies, Broadway. Where does all this fit into your future? Beyond your TV show, what else do you want to do that you haven't done, or what more of these different avenues that you've been able to get in do you want to
do? I do have a date when I want this show to end, if God willing, it doesn't get canceled. You know, I mean, I'm a realist. We've been renewed through 2017. I'll need a few more years after that. I knew that when I signed up for this show, and I had the conversation with my husband, I said, you know, I don't want to do this forever, don't you? Mm-hmm. You know, we hadn't even gotten started. I had only signed the papers. But I was like, you know, I don't want to. You know why? I'll tell you why, Jerry. Because I read the magazines, and I'm all consuming with the magazines and the Entertainment Tonights and things like that. And I don't want my life to be that. I treasure my privacy. I treasure having a life. And the best part about my job is actually doing my job. maybe the worst part about it is photo shoots and taking pictures and doing autographs and, I guess some stuff that regular people would consider fabulous is really not the best part of the job. The best part of the job is after you're doing the job.
Right.
But I am setting myself up now for earning a living after this show, but behind the scenes.
Okay.
Something that my husband will take the reins. My son will have a built-in situation should he want it, and so far he desires to work in the family business. I've got my Wendy Williams production company set up right now. I want to be producing everything from reality TV to Lifetime movies to docu-series and things like that. That's what I want for my production company. For me personally, I'm trying to set up a platform where I would be a keynote speaker and a very highly requested speaker, whether it's at a graduation or a woman's shelter or, do work for Say No to Drugs. I'm very into organizations like the Police Athletic League, anything that has to do with keeping kids off of the streets. And I want to be a socialite. To sum it all up, I want to be a socialite who has a viable production company, but that virtually runs itself because I've got a fantastic staff. Mm-hmm. But I do want to have an office there, but I want it to kind of run itself. I'm setting all this up right now, so my name has some weight to it, so doors open for the company. But what I want to do is I want to get out here and be able to do things that I don't really have the time to do now, and that would be help make the world a better place.
Okay.
Through charitable endeavors and speaking and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. This is sort of a retro question in relation to that, but with all the different things that you have been doing over the last few years, has there been a time where there's been consideration to moving out of this area, going to the West Coast or anything?
Oh my gosh. I shudder. I shudder and I wince. I shudder and I wince and I wince and I shudder. Well, I will tell you, there hasn't just been consideration. There's actually been an informal offer back when I was in radio, kind of that speaks to that. And I couldn't do it. I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl over there. Mm-hmm. It's a nice place to visit. All due respect. Okay. But I'm not that girl, and those aren't my people. These are my people. The Northeast.
You left radio in 2009, I believe. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a radio icon.
Thank you.
Where do you see, because the whole business, the idea of radio, commercial radio, has shifted a lot. Do you see that world sort of disappearing at this point? Where do you see that going for people who may be looking to sort of follow in your footsteps? Is that going to exist anymore in the years to come?
It'll exist. Terrestrial radio will exist. Satellite radio will exist. I think that the large paychecks that came along with it won't exist, which means that, and the glamour of it is going the way of the wayside. Radio people used to be real rock stars before me. And I might have been the last generation of like the radio rock star, and even that, radio was the lowest form of entertainment. If somebody has a big blockbuster movie, they come in town, they do Kelly and Michael, and the last thing they want to do is go to a damn radio station. And believe me, their attitudes would show too. And I'd be like, look, spark it up. Get up with that personality. I know you don't want to be here. It's just radio, But I'm broadcasting to a few million people too. So now, get it together. Where do I see radio going? I see radio as always being here. I'm a fan of radio. I love terrestrial radio mostly, and I plan on going back to radio. But thank God I'll be going back to it. I'm not looking at it as a paycheck. It might be a couple of dollars for a grocery bill. Right. It's horrible, and all the parts are interchangeable. The corporations have got a chokehold on radio. They will fire you in a second. All the contracts have loopholes in them. They pay you peanuts, and if you don't act right, they'll invent another. Because with PPM now, the new way of ratings, They are basically, the jocks are puppets. There's no more creativity. They're back to being DJs, not radio personalities. Oh, God, I shudder to think where my career would have gone if I wasn't able to be a personality. If I wasn't allowed to not play those 12 songs in a row. That I had a program director and I worked for a company back in, the early 90s that, allowed the personality to shine through as long as it was something compelling. And they found it compelling. My boss says, really? Wendy, did you really see that? Yup, I did.
Okay. A few more questions for you. Who would you say, if you can narrow, let's say top 3, who are your top 3 favorite interviews, radio, TV, everything of all time?
God, I don't have one. Oh my God. Me on Howard Stern. The first time. I loved every time, but I will say the first time because he really pulled information from me that I would never share with the world, including the presence of my husband. I can't think of anybody here. I talked to Jillian Michaels today. I love Jillian Michaels, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a fan of The Biggest Loser, but I am not exactly in the best shape in the world like most of us. And you always just think a fitness trainer is going to be like really mean and bitchy when you meet them. Mm-hmm. Like just a real hardened personality, and then kind of sitting there judging you and stuff. This is Jillian's second time on the show. I love her. She is a girl, and she gets it. And we interviewed on the couch, and then we did exercises. She's so wonderful and so nice. So Jillian, I guess because she was here today, I really enjoyed talking to James Earl Jones because I thought he was going to be an older, judgmental man who can't understand the new school and certainly my Jersey, pink show, but he came here, he got right in the spirit. I love talking to older people who I think are going to be judging the new school, the way it is, everybody's twerking and look at you. You could be using your platform for something different. Instead, you spend 20 minutes talking about hot topics. But no, you know what? Dan Rathers, Larry King, James Earl Jones, they have come to this show and had the best time. Totally get it. As a matter of fact, they get in on the fun. I don't have favorite interviews, though. Every day that I'm able to interview on this platform is a favorite day because I am the most fortunate girl in the world to have a talk show. And I know what they say. At some particular point, everybody's going to have a show and everybody's going to have their 15 minutes of fame. But will it stick around? Mm-hmm. We're in our 5th season. I left radio. It didn't leave me. I've had a really, really fortunate career. And every day I pinch myself and say a prayer of thanks. It's a sweet, because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. When you ask me what do I want to be doing tomorrow, sitting down. I want to sit down and have my production company, but there is no higher plane for me than having a talk show. There's nothing higher. I don't want several talk shows. Right. I don't want to own the network. I want to have a talk show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just conscious of time. Do you want to make this the last or next?
Sure. Yeah, one more question. Sure. Who? I'm not sure if this will end up being the last question, but who would you say is one person who you've yet to interview? The one person that you'd love to interview that you have not yet.
Well, I would love to talk to our First Lady. And I don't even want to talk to her about First Lady stuff. And I wouldn't ask her to do a push-up or to dance. I want to talk to her because she just turned 50. I just turned 50. Because she's a mother. I am a mother. Because she's a prominent person. I'm working on my prominency. But, I would love to talk to the First Lady. And not about issues, but about life. I want to hear, when's the last time you drove a car, girl? What kind of moisturizer do you use? I would love to talk to the First Lady. I would have loved to have talked to Anna Nicole Smith. I would have loved to have interviewed with Donna Summer. Alas, having a talk show and being a professional talker in life, you realize that there really is no such thing as a wish list. Having said that, because sometimes the very people that you wish for end up being the worst conversationalists ever. I've had better conversations with cab drivers than I've had with some celebrities that I've met through the years of my entire career. And there's nothing more disappointing than being disappointed by a famous person that you admired. So I don't, hanging out with famous people is so far off my radar, it's ridiculous. And I always feel that way about me too. Why, you might not like me. So let's just keep this conversation right here in the liking zone. Because I'm constantly disappointed by celebrities. Constantly. Okay. Like, oh my God, you're so good on TV. This interview sucks. Yeah.
And pleasantly surprised by some, I would imagine.
And pleasantly surprised by others. Sure. Yes.
Okay. That's it.
You forgot the most important question.
What's that?
How you doing?